Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next level tactics. From offsite and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition. Now, here's your host, Timothy Carter.
Thanks for joining me on the podcast. Today we're going to talk about what's the difference between direct and indirect ranking signals. Depending on how you classify SEO, there's really only one primary goal: attain higher ranks in the search results. Yes, all the, brand and customer benefits from content marketing and other peripheral strategies are nice bonuses, but in strict terms, ranking is the bottom line. Accordingly, it's no surprise that most modern tactics evolved to take advantage of what we know as ranking signals, which are actions or constructs that send a message to Google's algorithm that your site is an authority worth ranking. Get more ranking signals, move up in rank. It's that simple. The complexity comes from the fact that not all ranking signals are fully understood. Since Google doesn't publish its complete ranking algorithm, and from the fact that there are actually different types of ranking signals. So, today I want to address a critical difference you may not have known about, direct ranking signals versus indirect. So if you've spent any significant time in the SEO community, these are probably ranking signals you know about, direct ranking signals. They come in all shapes and sizes, but are all ultimately the product of an action or improvement that makes your site perceptibly more authoritative. For example, acquiring a new link to your domain is a ranking signal, depending on the strength of the source. It could pass a little or a lot of authority to your site. Similarly, but to a much lesser extent, the loading speed of your web pages can serve as a ranking signal as well. Ranking signals also come into play from when it comes to relevance. For example, if you create a page that targets a keyword phrase like garden salsa, it could help you rank higher for queries that contain the phrase garden salsa. But for the most part, direct ranking signals are adequately published, and because the majority of them can be executed intentionally as a part of a healthy overall SEO strategy. And there isn't much mystery surrounding them other than the fact that there are a lot and they change somewhat frequently. And then there's indirect ranking signals. So what counts as an indirect ranking signal? Well, like their direct counterparts, these are constructs or actions that can influence your rank, but they don't do so directly. In fact, they have no direct bearing or influence on Google's algorithms at all. Yet at the same time, they can increase your ranks in strong and sometimes unexpected ways. For example, let's say you've written a fantastic article about how to buy, a perfect pair of shoes. It doesn't get much traction at first, but one day a major influencer in the fashion industry happens upon it and shares it with her audience of 100,000 followers. This action has no direct influence on your ranking whatsoever, contrary to popular belief out there. However, imagine a few possible results of this action. Let's say a handful of users may read your article and link to it on their own blogs, establishing direct ranking signals as a result of an innocuous event. Others may specifically search for your brand in combination with shoe-related keywords, strengthening the correlation between your brand name and those shoe-related words. Maybe many of those 100,000 followers may share your article even further, which simply multiplies these positive effects across, other demographics and audience segments. So, this is an indirect ranking signal, and there are many examples of how these can come to pass. Social shares, interviews, referrals, brand mentions, and even in-person discussions can all constitute, indirect ranking signals. So another question as we get close to wrapping this episode up, is it worth pursuing indirect signals? Yeah, this is an interesting question. If indirect ranking signals don't pass authority, are they worth incorporating into an SEO strategy? The example earlier I just mentioned, it's obviously a pretty optimistic scenario, and arguably one worth pursuing. Having your article shared with 100,000 people for most brands is an incredible opportunity. However, there's no guarantee it will lead to measurable benefits. What if that share falls flat? What if lots of people read it, but few people take any course of action that results in a direct ranking signal? The answer is pretty simple. Yes, indirect ranking signals are less concrete and less predictable than obviously their direct counterpart. But if you look at averages, they're definitely worth pursuing. If 10 influencers, each with a similar profile of 100,000 followers, share your article, all it takes is to hit one home run to generate tons of new direct ranking signals for your domain. So it's a good idea to pursue, indirect ranking signals as long as you're obviously incorporating direct signals into your strategy. As we wrap it up, there's some good news if you're interested in incorporating more indirect signals into your strategy. You probably don't have to change much. If you write content that people would want to read, you'll naturally earn more shares and generate more discussion. If you get active on social media, you'll naturally earn more brand mentions and potentially generate more attention for your work. So if you want to dig into semantics and get technical, indirect ranking signals should not be a part of SEO, but they're a natural part of many peripheral strategies that are closely related to SEO, including content marketing, guest posting, relationship building, social media marketing, and even in-person professional networking. Any positive PR for your brand at any level could contribute to attaining a direct ranking signal. So work to unify your strategies under that common vision and goal for improving your ranking growth. And that's it for today's episode. If you need some more help on creating that killer content that will drive those indirect ranking signals, come on over to SEO.co and schedule a time to have a free consultation. Learn how we can help you scale your ability to outwrite and outrank your competition.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.